You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Hello. We're live.
Well, yep. For some reason my mic had muted itself. Good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode 111 or 12. I'm not quite sure exactly because I am not at the Beaver Lodge. I'm at the Ottawa Beaver Lodge today again, of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. And I'm looking outside my window and I'm seeing more gray weather yet again today. The sun made an appearance yesterday, finally, but yep, but it's gray again today.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. Animals walking 2 by 2 down the street, so I'm thinking maybe we need an ark.
Maybe we need an ark, or maybe as Mr. Pawlowski says, it's just God crying because of the turpitude and the lack of morals of the gay community and the trans community and everybody who supports them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's totally what it is.
We made the little baby Jesus cry. So, yeah. Anyway, so
He's
at the
30-year-old man when they crucified him. So why does everybody call him the little baby Jesus? I mean, like he did live a 30-year life.
Hey, the baby Jesus is a good guy.
Sure.
He's
a baby.
I remember we also always have this joke. Let's have a drink to the baby Jesus. The baby Jesus is a good baby. The baby Jesus, have a good drink.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great day here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And I am super glad that you have joined us here today, kids. As always, we have to thank our sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And of course, as always, with me is my good friend, my pal, Mr. Grizzly, who held thank you much, sir. And how I got the thumbs up. All right.
Sorry, you were cutting out horribly.
Kit Hugo's beats corporate Jesus.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just asking how you doing today.
Oh,
And how's your mental health?
yeah, I'm a little not fully awake yet, but you can tell by the squint-eyed, confused look on my face. Yeah, no, feeling good, despite the fact that it's 40 days and 40 nights of rain. It seems
Yeah.
really the
Are
the
you
weather
wearing
affects
a
my mood.
shirt, sir?
Yeah, I just felt like wearing white today. It is springtime after all.
Mm.
Favorite
Yes,
cufflinks.
yes, indeed.
Let's see if I can get them in camera there. My sister brought those back from Dublin for me a bunch of years ago. The Trinity.
Ah. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
very
nice.
Irish, is what it is. You see.
Yes. Springtime for Beaver and Grizzly.
Sure.
All right, kids. In the headlines, I guess the big one is that Puzlowski was found guilty, uh, which will certainly lead to the Alberta election,
Oh yeah.
which is nuts after day two.
Oh,
Jeez.
you think?
And of course, in the headlines as well, there's a testimony from people involved with the Trudeau. Yesterday, we had Mr. Rosenberg testify, who had went to election interference. And today, Alexandre Trudeau, the Prime Minister's brother, one of
Mhm.
the directors of the foundation, is going to be testifying today as well. So those are the two big domestic things going on, and we'll probably get into those a little more if we can during the day. But Mr. Grizzly, do you have something for us before we start off in earnest?
I do. I do. I'm going to
Okay.
play a video clip. I'm going to play a video clip. I'll let it speak for itself. We'll discuss it immediately afterwards. It's 1 minute and 12 seconds of WTF.
I think I know which one this is. I think it's.
All right, Danielle Coots and Trudeau.
I would love Rob to talk a bit about this because he's the lawyer and I'm not. But this whole phrase of peace, order, and good government, I think it's become a shorthand to the federal government can do whatever the heck it wants, and we just have to be peaceful and orderly about it. And that's not, in my view, what it should mean. The federal government has said they want every federally regulated industry to have vaccine mandates. So that's broadcast media, radio and television broadcast media. It's all of the telecom companies. It's all of the grain elevators. It's the ports. It's the banks. And so, are we going to get to a point where to be able to get a bank account, you're going to have to be vaccinated because you won't be able to walk in the door? I have no idea. But the fact that this is the line in the sand that's been drawn because the federal government has so much more planned. They have so much more coming. And I think this is the reason why we want to see this win. We want to see it win so that they don't end up rolling out the full plan. And we want to see it win at Coots so that Jason Kenney, Scott Moe together become the first premiers to turn it around at the provincial level so that other premiers will follow.
Okay.
When was this
Let's unpack
again?
that. That's like over a year ago. She was talking
Okay.
about the Coots border blockade. Let's unpack this for a second to begin with. So I have a problem with everything she just said, but the one thing that
Yep.
she's trying to put panic into the fear and hearts of people. You can't open a bank account if you're not vaccinated. I just opened a bank account yesterday on my phone.
Yeah, you don't have to go in to open a bank account anymore.
They don't even have physical branch locations. So, lady, stop it. She's trying to fearmonger with the senior population to begin with. Number one. Number two,
Yep.
if you're senior, you probably already have a bank account and you've been with a bank for a long time. So you're not actually thinking about opening a new one, but those words put the fear into the hearts and minds of a certain generation.
Yep.
And then she cheered for the Coots blockade to win.
Yep.
Where they were attempting and planned and had the weaponry to murder RCMP officers.
Oh, but that's before I knew about the weapons. Allow me to clarify.
I'll never be able to appear on a panel show like that and not hold my tongue. You know I'm ready to start yelling right now.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
not going because I don't want to start the day that way. But it's because I get so frustrated with people getting away with this shit. There was a time when if you said something like that in a public forum and you were a public person in politics, that was it. You were made to answer for it, apologize. They demanded that you resign.
Yep.
We had cancel culture 50 years ago, people. It's not new. And it's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. You FA, you FO.
Yep. Indeed. I do not understand what the game is for her. Because I mean she keeps leaning into it. She keeps leaning into
And there's
it.
just so much video out there because she loves to hear the sound of her own voice.
Well, that's the thing, right? This is like, I have a feeling, like, I don't think I'm going way far out on a limb here, but given that she is the mouth that could not resist a microphone, there's probably a clip like this every day from the NDP waiting to come out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they have, if there's one thing the Alberta NDP does very well, it's Oppo research. So I don't know what she's. Every single day, her campaign is going to be derailed. Now, of course, she's going to just do the Danielle Smith oblivious thing. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, or I don't know why that's a problem. Now, let me talk about what it is I came here to talk about today.
So let's unpack that statement because she says that, well, I don't know anything about that. You don't know a goddamn anything about anything that you continue to blather on about from a year ago. So why would I elect you?
Doesn't know.
That's what, but I mean, she conveniently doesn't know, but that's her excuse. I didn't know anything about that. Well, then why do you want to run for a position in provincial parliament or provincial legislature? Because you don't know anything.
That would be the painfully obvious follow-up question.
Right? All you ever say is you don't know anything. Well, what do you know? Because obviously you aren't intelligent enough or know nearly enough to run a province.
Mm-hmm.
You're a dangerous human being. Mm-hmm. That would be my interview with her.
She's a cult leader.
Oh,
she's a wannabe cult leader.
Oh, yeah. This woman's out of it. She's off her mind. Off her rocker.
The sing-songy voice, the talking, the everything reassuring,
look
the trying
away.
to
What if we just try? Oh, I don't know. Murdering people.
Trying to separate the flock from the rest of the country, from the people who love them. Just, she's a cult leader.
Yeah, we're a sovereign nation within a nation. You're a landlocked province, and you want to get your oil to a coast. Mm-hmm. You got to go through at least one to the west, several to the east. And now you're talking about flight zones from Alberta to Florida, safety zone.
I know. Get Jim going. Good thing Grizz doesn't want to get worked up. And Kit Saucy, I want to know who's behind Danielle Smith. Well, that's the Take Back Alberta people. If there's anybody else behind the Take Back Alberta people, then we got late.
PBCC is in there somehow. Somehow they're in there. Because the Western Standard is basically the propaganda wing, a propaganda media arm for the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church. It's not a secret. It's well-known fact. So.
Yep. So clearly she is the puppet. Who is the puppeteer? Well, we have some insights. We just don't know if the puppeteer has puppeteers of their own.
Well, this is the thing, right?
Right.
And do we address the whole Press Progress article and the tweet thread that kind of points? And I talked about it yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to see how Skippy may have a Russian handler.
Yeah, let's get. We'll get to that one here, Judge. Yes.
You're breaking up a little bit there, sir. I think.
Are we back? House of Commons.
Yeah, we're back.
Hello? 1, 2. Yeah. He also had a incident. Well, I would assume it was yesterday. but
Anthony Rota. Yeah.
I'll try to find to um Lint
Okay, I'm going to have to pull Mr. Beaver out for a few minutes because his signal is horribly bad. He's only got down to 1 bar. His computer's almost frozen solid and we can't hear anything. I was hoping it would smooth itself out, but it looked like it wouldn't. I think he was, I'm not sure what he was saying. I'm pretty sure he was trying to address what I spoke about yesterday with, sorry, let me back that up. Let's back that up a little bit. I think he was addressing the Speaker of the House and how Skippy stood up and turned and immediately pointed and asked Trudeau a question, the Prime Minister a question, when you're supposed to address the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House has lost control of that House. He lost it a long time ago. It's pathetically bad. He finally scolded them once, I think the other day when Skippy tried to sing New York, New York horribly. And it just wasn't enough. Look, I want to be Speaker of the House for one day, just one day. I'll do it for free. I'll volunteer a day of my time. Let me be Speaker of the House for one day. I will observe proper parliamentary language. I will not drop F-bombs. I will not swear. I will not use expletives or vulgarity in any way, shape, or form, but I will lay the hammer down. Okay, I think we got you back, sir. Well, I don't think you can hear me. Well, we're having issues here, technically speaking. Oh, are you back? Can you speak? Don't hear you. Nothing. Jump in and out because you've got one. Your signal is one red bar, which means your processor's getting chewed for some reason. So just jump in and out. We'll have them back in a minute or two. Weird how that happened at the last second because we were good to go, and then all of a sudden everything went sideways, as it sometimes does. But like I was saying, let's get back to how the Speaker of the House, Anthony Rota, has completely lost control of that House, and I would be happy to volunteer for a single day, volunteer my time to sit in the House and let them know you will address the Speaker of the House. You will not address other members of the House of Commons because that is not how we do things. The heckling will stop right now. One heckle from one person, you get one strike, one warning, and then you're gone. And I will have the Sergeant at Arms escort you out of the House of Commons. The Speaker of the House is meant to control the House. The Speaker of the House is meant to control both sides and all parties in there so they observe proper parliamentary decorum, proper parliamentary procedure, and address the House before they address a member of Parliament. There are procedures, and we need to do it. We need to observe them. They have been there for a long time. We need to observe them. Just give me a sec here. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, you need to, you need to, I'm gonna pull you out, and then you can come back. He'll have to rejoin us because his signal is terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't know what happened there. You're right, Jim. There is a reason he has a mace, and unfortunately, it hasn't been used. It should be used, at least in a threatening manner, held up and say, this is what you get if you step sideways again. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And look, people are welcome to sit in the gallery and watch. And people have been thrown out for raising their heckles when the heckling is happening. I would not be able to sit in the gallery because I would be yelling at the top of my lungs. Sit down and observe parliamentary procedure. Sit down and observe decorum. I'm paying for this. I want it to be done according to the rules. If you don't want the rules, leave. The rules are meant for everybody. There we go. You've got a full signal strength, sir. Signal is good. Send him a message. He doesn't seem to be able to hear me. Can you hear me? You can hear me? I can't hear you. Turn your mic up. Make sure that the on the service tray on the bottom right hand side, make sure that when you click on the speaker, make sure it says your USB output for your modular device. The speaker, the tray, the service tray on the bottom right hand side of your computer screen, where it has the clock and that. If you see the little speaker icon, right click on that. And actually left click on that, and then you'll see an arrow. Point the arrow up and make sure it is on the USB output. Okay. And your headphones are up and your microphone volume is up. Okay. Check the settings in Restream. Check your audio in Restream. Make sure, click on the gear, go to audio input, and make sure it says USB, and make sure your output is USB as well. Your USB module. Yeah, can't hear you. Nope, nothing. Zero. We've lost you altogether, sir. Lost you altogether. We have no audio for some reason, and I don't. The only thing I can suggest is rebooting your computer altogether. That's the only thing I can suggest at this point, because we can't. We'll have to take more time to fix it later. Maybe take a look at it later this evening and see if we can get that fixed. Yes, Jen, use the mace. Use the mace. Use the mace on the computer. That might work, but I don't think there'd be much of a computer left to be used if we use the mace on the computer. I don't know. Technical things go sideways always at the last minute. It happens. It's not the end of the world. We can get there. We can fix it. But I'm sincere when I say I want to be Speaker of the House for one day. And why not? Why not? I'm a citizen. I live in this country. I pay taxes. Believe me, I just saw my check. So I should be allowed to do that for one day, just a single day, one day out of the year, have the average Canadian citizen, a working class stiff. That's what I am. Let me be Speaker of the House for a single day. I will make certain that parliamentary procedure is observed. You want to hear somebody yell, "Order! I will have order! There will be order in this house or you will be escorted out." One warning. This is not baseball. You don't get 3 strikes in this house. You get one warning, and then you are removed. We are going to observe parliamentary procedure. We are going to observe parliamentary decorum. If you cannot observe that, we will provide classes for you on how to behave in the House of Commons. Yeah, and guess what? Yeah, I'm going to have to pay for it. But guess what? I don't have a problem with that because you need to learn how to behave. You are a representative of the people. Act accordingly. That's kind of all I've got to say about that today. Trying not to get too fired up. I'm going to need another cup of coffee. I don't know if Mr. Beaver is going to be able to join us again. And he's trying to restart his computer, I believe. Let me just send him a text message and find it. Oh, he just sent me. Computer apparently needs to update. Oh, yeah, well, that's the problem. Yeah, that happens. It's always the worst times. I always have my computer set to update, after midnight, usually around 12:01 a.m., so that it shouldn't interrupt anything I'm doing. Sometimes I set it for 2 a.m., especially if, it's a Friday, because we might be on a live stream late sometimes. So I set it for 2 a.m. Well, sometimes it just decides to do it when it wants to do it. And that kind of sucks, You might be right about that, Jim. The people that Skippy represents would approve of his actions, though. And when you say the people that he represents, I don't believe you're referring to his constituents, because I know his constituency is pretty pissed off at him because he hasn't been there in months. He's been campaigning to become prime minister, which is not something you do when there's no election happening. No writ has been dropped, and he's been gallivanting around the country. There need to be rules in place for that. The reason we have a short election cycle of 30 days, sometimes 60, we once had it for 90, and that was the last election when Harper was prime minister. And that 90 election day span, I know Mr. Beaver loved it because, he was able to watch how things went. But I hated it because of the vitriol, the spitting back and forth, the venom that was coming through. It was too much for me. I needed a break from it. I had to turn off the TV. Well, I don't really watch television, but you know what I mean. I had to unplug from everything because it was really beginning to affect my mental health. 30-day cycle is fine. A 60-day cycle is more than enough. I don't want to. 30 days, I think, is perfect. Have your 30-day election cycle, and then boom, move on. But Skippy has been campaigning for over a year now. Yeah, they had the PM for PP for PM flags on the trucks during the occupation of Ottawa in 2022, February of 2022. So he's been campaigning to become prime minister for over a year, which again is not something you do. You cannot run for prime minister. I don't know how many times I have to say that until people understand it. The other thing that really troubles me is I keep reading about people saying, well, I'm all for free speech. Well, then go to the United States of America. What? We don't have free speech here. We have freedom of expression. Well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. It's not the same thing. There are reasonable limitations set upon the freedom of your expression as deemed by society. And that's written in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So hate speech has no place here. Much like a swastika has no place in Germany. You can be arrested for it. It's a criminal symbol. You can go to jail for sporting if you parade through the streets of Germany with a swastika flag, you will be arrested and prosecuted. Somebody says, well, you're taking away their free speech. No, that is hate speech. You remember what the Nazis stood for. It is not free speech. It is hate speech. And we don't have free speech. We have freedom of expression. And if you're expressing your freedom by stomping upon others and wanting to stomp them into oblivion, well, that's just hate speech. And there's no place for that in society. And we won't stand for it. Yes, Elaine, we were discussing that right at the top of the show when Mr. Beaver's computer started to flip-flop on him. KISS. Oh, yeah, because of the S. The S's in KISS kind of look like the Nazi SS's from World War II. That's correct, Jim. Yeah, and I don't know if that's still the case today, but I think that was the issue years ago. I don't know if that's still current or not. I really don't know. But yeah, because it looks like the Nazi SS's that they wore on their collars. Yeah, you're right about that, Jillian. He can try, but he's talking to everyone except his constituents who alone are responsible for electing him. We're talking about Skippy the Wonder Pigeon there. And the thing about that is I don't think his constituency will reelect him. I don't know why they've continued to do so. The rumor is you could paint a rock blue and say it was running in that riding and it would get elected. But the tides have turned. People are really fed up with him in his constituency, mostly because he's never in his riding. He's in some other part of the country. We've all seen how much money the man has spent. More than, I think he's spent double what the prime minister spent on travel expenses in the last year. But yet he wants to deflect and point, oh, he's in New York on vacation. No, he was in New York working. Well, he was taking selfies with celebrities. Yeah. Do you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? No. You're allowed to have downtime. You're allowed to have personal time. And if you bump into a celebrity and you take an ussy, as they say on Ted Lasso, well, guess what? That's allowed too. You don't work 24/7, but that was a working trip. So he was working 7 days a week, Skippy. 7 days a week, the prime minister's working. And you're shitting on him for doing it. No matter what the man does, you will find fault with him. I have plenty of faults with the prime minister. I do. There are things that he's done that I disagree with. But there's many things he's done that I do agree with. So again, I'm not going to find fault with absolutely everything he does, unlike you. And you pretend that you're high and mighty and have never done anything wrong. Right now, you're trying to make hay about Michael Chong, which, as we all know, this happened years ago. And then you asked questions yesterday in the House of Commons directly to the Prime Minister, bypassing the Speaker, which you can't do. Questions you knew could not be answered because they were a matter of national security. But you can't look at the briefings because you will not be cleared to do so. Is that because of these rumored Russian ties? Is it? Is it because of the rumored Russian ties? It could be because of the rumored Russian ties. Or maybe it's because of the rumors that your wife's father, your father-in-law, was tied to the mob in Venezuela, and they had to leave the country. I'm just asking questions, remember? Is it because of that? Just asking questions, because that's what they always like to say, right? Just asking questions, like it's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal, because you're messing with our democracy. You're messing with the lives of people in this country who work hard every day. And of course, yesterday you made a mess about trying to say that the food bank lineups in Toronto are the fault of the federal government, when we know that is not possible because food banks are under provincial control. Oh, and municipal control. And also, food banks are a total and abject failure of society and government. They should not exist in 2023 in a wealthy nation like Canada. We have the money to fix this problem. There's just no will to do it. Can you hear me, Mr. Beaver?
Yes. Can you hear me?
And I can hear you. Yes, I can.
Ah, finally. Sorry it took so long, kids. The computer was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, sure. We can reboot this for you. But first, an update."
Yes, of course, of course. Let me grab a
Of
coffee. I'll give
course.
you a minute. I'll be right back.
Technology. You win again. Yeah, right. I agree with you, Tim. Window updates. Boo. Unfortunately, I have no idea what Mr. Grizzly was talking about other than caught the end of the food banks thing, which I agree is a failure of society. Where to elegantly with where I was. If you're still making a point, please
That's
finish
okay.
it.
I was going on about how, Anthony wrote to the Speaker of the House, has lost control of the House, because yesterday Skippy stood up and pointed directly at the Prime Minister and asked him about why the lineups in the food banks are so long, amongst other things. But he also went on about how Michael Chong had a threat to him, and then he started to say, "Can you speak to this?" Knowing full well he couldn't, because it's national security is involved, but he won't get briefed on it, so he can continue to ask these questions and stir the pot.
That would have been
That's
my answer. Can you speak to this? As if you would bother to get your security clearance and briefed, I wouldn't have to speak to you about this. You'd know.
exactly. Exactly. And that was when he turned to the Prime Minister directly, instead of bypassing the Speaker of the House altogether. That's why I say, let me be Speaker of the House for one day. Just one day. One day. I won't swear. I will observe
But there's another
decorum, parliamentary procedure. Go ahead. Did you freeze?
Yep. But there's another clip that no, it's you're not moving. What I'm seeing on my screen is different. You're moving in slow, so you're and that I couldn't hear you. The crap. I just forgot what I was going to say. Keep
Squirrel.
talking. Oh yes. Thunder Bay Ed sent me something, unfortunately, which because I'm at the Ottawa Beaver Lodge, I can't send you the clips. But it's of the Speaker of the
Send me the link.
House. Pardon? Well, I can't, because as
Send
soon
me
as I
the
touch
link.
something on my I can't, because as soon as I touch something on my
Okay.
computer, it
Okay.
freezes.
Okay.
So apparently, I can only watch the screen. I can't touch anything, type or anything.
Don't do anything.
today.
Don't do anything.
No. So I can't send it to you. So hopefully we'll have it for you tomorrow. But he basically got into it with the Speaker as well,
Oh, yeah.
and the Speaker had to basically cut him off. So apparently he's just going to be doing the chessboard thing, just walking around flipping the chessboard, acting like a big dick with everyone, with the media, with the speaker, with anybody that he can, with Joe Biden. You know, it's like, yes, over here, I'm going. Allow me to explain to you how politics works, even in Canada, even though you've like been in politics in the United States for like 40 something years and been to Canada so many times. Yeah,
50 years.
so but let me explain this to you. So yeah, you know. Unfortunately, I can't show it right now. So I'm going to move back to Pavlovsky if we can.
Sure, go ahead. Actually, it was
All
brought
right.
up in the chat that he was convicted yesterday.
Yes, indeed. He was convicted yesterday on all charges. Now, of course, the sentencing happens later, so we don't know what the sentence is yet because,
Mhm.
yeah, you're first guilty and then they have the sentencing hearings. But according to the court documents, I am satisfied Mr. Pavlovsky intended to incite the audience to continue the blockade as intended to incite protesters to commit mischief, said Justin Gordon Krinky as he delivered his verdict yesterday. The Crown prosecutors told Pavlovsky's trial in Lethbridge that his impassioned speech to the truckers in February 2022 fanned the flames of unrest and convinced them to stay at the border crossing for another 2 weeks. And this is as reported by the Calgary Herald. Pavlovsky faces another charge under the Alberta Critical Infrastructure Defence Act of willfully damaging or destroying essential infrastructure. However, Krinky said he couldn't rule on that charge Tuesday because the defense has given notice of a constitutional challenge. So sorry, I misspoke. Not guilty on all charges. One is still unresolved. Separately, several people were also charged after the RCMP found a cache of guns, body armor, and ammunition in 3 trailers during the blockade, with 4 men facing counts of conspiracy to commit murder. That's still before the courts at the moment. Now, Pavlovsky was clearly not happy about this because if you remember in his phone call with her, he had said, "Oh, good, Saucy sent the clip. Perfect. Then we can show that when the time comes." He said that he felt he needed to come swinging at her on that call, basically on, but you promised.
Mhm.
Right. And it seems that she hadn't been living up to her promise so much. So he's already got it baked in that he's a martyr. And if you remember in some of the previous recordings of Pavlovsky speaking that we put on, he talked about vipers and scorpions and snakes. Well, he's at it again. The snakes and the scorpions and the vipers are already at each other's throats, he said, after all of that. And he's basically himself as a martyr, convicted of this crime, said that is no longer efficiency. It becomes a totalitarian state and a regime that hunts down people simply because they dare to articulate what the government doesn't like. No, sir. I know you think that they're very on the or wherever. Yeah, but officially, sorry, totalitarian.
You're breaking up real bad. I don't know if anybody heard that or not.
And
Yeah, I'm just going to air this clip because we seem to have lost Mr. Beaver again. So this is the clip where Anthony Rota, the Speaker of the House, scolds Skippy.
everything froze.
Orders of the day.
Today, ordre du jour, government orders, business of supply, consideration of an opposition motion concerning home ownership and renting affordability standing in the name of Monsieur Poilievre.
Order. Order. Does the leader of the opposition have something to say to the chair?
Actually, he does have something to say. You asked me if I had something to say. I do have something to say. I think it is outrageous. Here we stand in this parliament to represent our constituents, and we need the ability
Later on, if he continues.
Okay, constituents from a man who's been campaigning for prime minister for over a year.
House. I'm cutting you off. That's it. Please sit.
That's the first time he's shown any backbone as leader. Speaker. I mean, and I wish he would have just said sternly, "That's it. You're out. That's it. Nope. Do not take your base. You're out of the park. Go, leave." It was almost enough to make me respect him. I said almost enough because he still waffled on it horribly. And he's let him get away with so much for so long, which is the worst part. Is it glitchy? Do you want me to try it again? It's 57 seconds. I'm gonna play the clip again because I'm told it was rather glitchy. So let's try playing the clip again. Okay, Mr. Beaver is, hang on, Mr. Beaver is back. He's got a nice signal. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I
You
can.
can hear me. Okay. We're going to try airing this again because I understood that the clip was a little bit glitchy. So I'll try it once again. Just bear with me for a second here while I arrange. Let's see. Try this and let's see if it works for us because I'm told it was a little glitchy and difficult to hear. So we'll try it one more time and hopefully this works. If not, we'll put a link to it in the chat.
Concerning home
Order. Does the leader of the opposition have something to say?
You asked me if I had something to say. I do to say. I think it is outrageous. Here we stand in this parliament to represent our constituents, and we need the ability.
Later on, if he continues, he'll be ejected from the House. I'm cutting you off. That's it.
First time that Anthony Rota has shown the ability to I don't know what, have some backbone. Like it's classic. I love it, and hopefully he'll continue to do it.
You have something.
Like I said, it's almost enough for me to show him respect. No idea what you're saying, sir. You're super glitchy. You know what? We're having a million problems this morning with technology, so I'm going to end it right here because I do have to get into the office. And we'll troubleshoot it later, sir. It happens. Technology happens. Well, your signal is going from 10 out of 10 to 0 out of 10, which is where it is right now. So we'll work on a couple of things and hopefully have it better for tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll say goodbye to you for now, Mr. Beaver. I'll talk to you later. Folks, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you tuning in every day, and let's do this again tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have the technology worked out. Stuff happens. It's not the end of the world. We'll continue to provide content for you and continue to give you the best show we can. Sometimes we're limited by our abilities due to technological reasons. That happens. It's not the end of the world. We'll get over it. Tomorrow is another day, and tomorrow will be a better day. In the meantime, remember our title sponsors, Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, CanadianTarot.com, and the Pepper Master with hot pepper sauces to expand your mind and thrill your soul. I know I twisted that a little bit, but I just like the hot sauce. I love the hot sauce. You can find us, of course, wherever you get your fine podcasts. And if you want, you can scan the little QR code if you're watching on YouTube. I'm pointing to it right now, and that will take you to our coffee page, coffee.com. So it's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And there you can make a donation if you like what you see and hear on this program so that we can continue to purchase better equipment, hopefully avoid little hiccups like we had today. This is where the money goes. It goes back into the show so that we can purchase better equipment and better technology to make it better. All right. That's it for today. I'll see you.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Thanks for joining us. Apologies for the technological glitches. We'll see you tomorrow. You take care, okay?